Welcome to an extraordinary journey into the world of American numismatics, where history, rarity, and a touch of mystery converge in the form of a single small copper coin. Today, we dive deep into the captivating story of the 1978 Lincoln penny, a humble coin with an astonishing secret. One example of this coin has stunned collectors worldwide with a price tag of $167,000 US. How can a common coin from the late 1970s become a prized treasure worth a small fortune? What secrets does this coin hold? And how can you spot one that might be hiding in your own pocket change? Buckle up, because this isn't just a tale about a coin, it's a journey through American history, minting technology, collector culture, and the hidden gems that sometimes lie in plain sight. Chapter 1. The Context: America in 1978. To understand the 1978 Lincoln penny, we need to step back into the year it was struck. 1978 was a year of transition. Jimmy Carter was president, inflation was a concern, and the Cold War continued to cast its shadow. Amid these larger global narratives, the U.S. Mint quietly produced billions of Lincoln cents coins that would be passed from hand to hand, barely noticed, until one of them became legendary. These were the last pennies to feature the Lincoln Memorial reverse before a pivotal change in the early 1980s, when the composition of the coin itself would shift from bronze to a copper-plated zinc core. In many ways, 1978 was the final chapter of an era. Chapter 2. Design and Specifications. The Lincoln Cent, introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had remained largely unchanged for decades. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a right-facing portrait of Lincoln with the simple inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1978. The reverse, created by Frank Gasparo, displays the Lincoln Memorial, replacing the original wheat ears in 1959, marking Lincoln's 150th birthday. In 1978, the penny was still composed primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. But this seemingly ordinary coin would produce one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever known. Chapter 3. The Coin That Shocked the World. $167,000. Let's talk about the legend. The 1978 Lincoln penny that fetched $167,000 at auction. What made it so special? This wasn't just any 1978 penny. It was struck with extraordinary precision. Graded MS6 7+ red by PCGS, an ultra-rare grade for this year and type. But it wasn't just the grade. This specimen also displayed what collectors believe to be unique strike characteristics, potentially the result of a transitional error, planchet anomaly, or die state that set it apart from the billions of other pennies minted that year. It may have been struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin, or it may have exhibited double dies or even off-metal errors. Welcome back to another deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're uncovering the secrets behind a humble piece of American change, the 1981 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it's a coin most people would overlook. But buried in the world of numismatics lies a rare version of this very nickel that once sold for a jaw-dropping $158,000. Yes, you heard that right. $158,000 US for a 5-cent piece. But what could possibly make such an ordinary-looking coin command such an extraordinary price? What should collectors look for? And how did this seemingly common coin become a treasure worth a fortune? Let's dive deep into the world of the 1981 Jefferson nickel and find out. To truly appreciate the 1981 Jefferson nickel, we need to go back to the beginning. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938. Replacing the buffalo nickel that had circulated for 25 years. Designed by German-American artist Felix Schlag, The Jefferson nickel featured a portrait of the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse, and his famous Monticello estate on the reverse. It was a design that would become an American staple, and by 1981, the coin had already been in continuous production for over 4 decades. Now, the 1981 issue of the Jefferson nickel came at an interesting time in American coinage. The U.S. Mint was preparing for major changes, especially with the introduction of new technology and procedures. It was also just before the switch from traditional mint marks to computerized, high-speed production lines in the mid-1980s. But what makes the 1981 nickel so special isn't just its historical context. It's what happened during its production. Millions of Jefferson nickels were minted in 1981, over 600 million from the Philadelphia and Denver mints combined. On the surface, this would make it seem like the 1981 nickel is extremely common, and in most cases, it is. But among those millions, there are rare exceptions, extremely high-grade specimens, those graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC at Mint State 6, 7, or higher are exceedingly rare. And then there's the Holy Grail, full steps. Full steps refer to the details on the reverse of the coin, specifically the stairs leading up to Monticello. A coin with fully struck steps, completely uninterrupted and showing all 6 lines clearly, is a rarity. Why? Because during most years, the dies used to strike nickels didn't create strong enough impressions to bring out that fine detail. In 1981, finding a nickel with full steps, let alone one in perfect condition, is almost like finding a needle in a haystack. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with Mint State 70 being absolute perfection, most 1981. Nickels floating around in circulation today are heavily worn, scratched, and dull from decades of use. Welcome to another journey into the fascinating world of rare coins. Today, we explore one of the most intriguing and valuable coins ever minted by the United States, the 1984 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary copper coin, one you've likely seen, spent, or ignored countless times. But hidden among the billions minted in 1984 lies a variety so rare and so desired that one example was auctioned for a staggering $187,000. How is it possible? What makes this seemingly humble coin worth more than some luxury cars, college degrees, or even small homes? The answer lies in the world of mint errors, historical context, rarity, and the unrelenting passion of coin collectors. Let's dive deep into the rich history of the 1984 Lincoln penny and uncover why it's become one of the most sought-after modern coins in American numismatics. Part 1. The Legacy of the Lincoln penny. Before we zero in on the 1984 coin, it's essential to understand the heritage behind the Lincoln cent, introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln penny marked the first time a U.S. president appeared on circulating currency. Sculptor Victor David Brenner's design became iconic, with Lincoln's profile on the obverse and, originally, wheat stalks on the reverse. For 50 years, the wheat reverse prevailed, until 1959, when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial. To honor the sesquicentennial of Lincoln's birth, this design would remain until 2008. Thus, the 1984 penny sits within the long-lived Lincoln Memorial series, which has seen billions of coins minted, yet few with the peculiar and precious attributes of the coin we're discussing today. Part 2. The context of 1984, a massive mintage year. In 1984, the U.S. Mint was operating at full throttle. Between the Philadelphia and Denver mints, more than 14.2 billion Lincoln cents were produced, over 8 billion in Philadelphia alone. This massive output was a response to the heavy use of coins in commerce and the inexpensive cost of producing cents. which still contained a thin copper coating over a zinc core. Given the sheer number of coins struck, it's inevitable that a few errors would escape into circulation. However, not all mint errors are created equal. Some are minor die cracks or off-center strikes worth a few dollars. Others, like the error in our 1984 Lincoln cent, are so dramatic and well-preserved that they command enormous premiums. Part 3. The discovery of the 1984 double die obverse. Among the billions of pennies minted in 1984, a small number were struck using a defective die specifically, a die that had been misaligned during the hubbing process, resulting in a phenomenon called doubling. In this case, it's known as a double die obverse, or DDO. Collectors noticed that on some 1984 pennies, Abraham Lincoln's ear appeared to be doubled. Upon closer inspection, the doubling wasn't limited to the ear, slight doubling could be observed on other feet. Welcome back to the channel, coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Today, we're diving into the incredible world of the Jefferson nickel. And not just any Jefferson nickel. We're talking about the 1994 edition, a coin you might easily overlook in your pocket change. Yet one rare specimen has stunned the numismatic world by reaching a jaw-dropping value of $155,000. Yes, you heard that right, a simple 5-cent coin from 1994, which could have bought a gumball back in the day, now holds the power to buy a luxury car, pay off a mortgage, or even fund a college education. But what makes this coin so special? Why has it reached such astronomical value? And how can you tell if you might have one of these hidden treasures in your own collection? Nickel. From its origins to the details that make this particular 1994 specimen an American numismatic legend. Before we get to 1994, let's set the stage. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The United States Mint commissioned a new design to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Felix Schlag was the designer behind the coin, and his profile of Jefferson, along with Monticello on the reverse, became the standard for American nickels for decades. Although the design has undergone some changes over the years, its classic layout remained largely unchanged through 2003. For collectors, the Jefferson Nickel series offers a rich field for study, from wartime compositions to rare mint errors, proof issues, and ultra-rare varieties. At first glance, the 1994 Jefferson nickel appears quite ordinary. It was struck in large numbers, over 1 billion coins when counting both Philadelphia and Denver mints. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1994, amidst these billions of coins, an extraordinary specimen was struck. It wasn't because of its metallic composition or a change in design. The value lies in its exceptional condition and a rare designation that collectors call full steps. Now, what are full steps? On the reverse of the Jefferson nickel, Monticello is featured prominently. At the base of this structure are steps, and when these steps are fully struck, with 5 or 6 clearly visible and unbroken lines, the coin receives a special designation, full steps. Most nickels, even those struck for circulation, show weakness in this area. The dies often didn't strike with enough force to bring out that detail. But on extremely rare occasions, one coin comes off the press perfectly struck, with every detail crisp and full. That is what happened with this legendary 1994 specimen. Graded by professional coin grading service PCGS as MS6 7 full steps. This coin is among the finest known examples of the 1994 Jefferson nickel. In fact, at the time of the sale, there were no known equals. It's the only one of its kind in that condition,